non-participation is really, in a lot of cases, that is the best thing you can do. The witnesses don't have authority in your life. Is it normal for an elder to invite someone to a judicial committee meeting? The person declines to come, no further calls, letters, nothing, nada. Okay, so a couple of things. My information is probably a little dated. Hang on here. Yeah, my information is probably a little dated, at least from what I understood up until, I don't know, 3-4 years ago. The modus operandi was that if it is legitimately a judicial committee, there's evidence that's been brought forward about someone's behavior, and they're calling it a judicial committee. They called you, they've said we need to set up a judicial committee, there's going to be 3 brothers there, then that doesn't sound right to me, like the proper procedure, where the person declines to come and then they don't give any further calls, no letters, nothing. They should give you some form of communique about what's happening. It's if they've determined that you don't identify yourself as a witness in the community, that's a factor. But still, that question would come into play before they formed a judicial committee on the matter. There are a lot of people that just fall through the cracks, so, I have heard that this does happen, but that does sound to me to deviate from the policies that were in place at least up until 3 or 4 years ago. I have heard of situations, what they will do sometimes, I've heard this very commonly actually, where, especially in cases of quote-unquote apostasy, the person will say, I'm not participating in your little tribunal. And then they say, okay, well, then we'll have to disfellowship you. But there's still some communication there. They'll tell them over the phone unless you've hung up on them. Or they will send you a letter or something to let you know that, you're not part of this community anymore. So, yeah, that does seem a little strange. Maybe give me some more details, Music Man 74, because that doesn't sound completely like they're following the rules there. Tell me what you think. What do you think that that's according to policies? Have you heard of anything that's updated in recent years? I'd really like to know, because I've been on the outs, a little while now. Okay, so 1697 DJH, going kind of back to the policies surrounding disfellowshipping. I heard if you don't go to a judicial committee, they will DF you anyway, if that is their intention. Yeah, that does happen. As I mentioned, I have heard of that. They should be letting you know. As I say, if you hung up on them and they don't have your address or a voicemail or something like that, it's kind of like, well, how else are they going to tell you? Protecting the fold is going to be their biggest priority, right? But they should, at least as far as I know, the policies make it pretty clear that, the person needs to know that they're not a member any longer. You know what I mean? Robert Aluba, I've seen you a couple of times in here. It's nice to see you again. Maybe the elder tried to set up the judicial committee and every elder he called was waking up. Yeah, you never know. I like that comment. Music Man 74, I served at Brooklyn Bethel, left, started waking up, created a YouTube channel, JW Nomo. The elders found out about my apostate videos and invited me to a judicial committee meeting, which I declined. Okay, so in your case, I don't know how much distance, how much of a interval there was between you serving at Bethel and opening up your channel. I would imagine just the fact that you were in Bethel, they probably did kind of have you on the radar that, even if you slipped out the back door, you still had some position that you could exert some authority there, or or persuade others to your view. So they might have thought it was important to just give you the axe. I'm still surprised if they haven't sent you details saying, you are no longer a witness. I would suppose if they're calling it out and out apostasy, which is a stupid word, but if they're calling it that, they might just spin it as saying, well, he knows what he is. He's not a witness. And it's like, well, split the difference. You know what I mean? Music Man 74, the elders never followed up. Yeah, that is strange. That doesn't sound right to me. It sounds like there was some departure in policy there. Hanitia, nice to see you. I haven't seen you before. Welcome to the channel. Where does the idea of judicial committees come from? It comes from Bronze Age nonsense. That's where it comes from. It's, I don't know when they started forming. I imagine judicial committees would have come online back when they instantiated the disfellowshipping policy, which I can't remember. It's like late 60s, early 70s or something, as I recall. I wasn't around then, so I don't know. But perhaps there were judicial committees or something, some kind of tribunal before that. I'm not aware. I mean, I know that there certainly were people that were public enemy to them. They would call them out. So yeah, I'm not really sure how the judicial committee as a thing came into existence, but that's interesting. Buzz Killington, good on you, Music Man 74. Never give others the authority to decide for you who you will associate with. Yeah, absolutely. I got to say something on that, guys. Non-participation is really, in a lot of cases, that is the best thing you can do. The witnesses don't have authority in your life, and the moment that you treat this entire thing as legitimate, the judicial committee, marking procedures, the moment that you go to the dollar store or the grocery store, people are like, kind of timid around you, and you start feeding off of that and behaving like, I'll respect the arrangement and all this. You're legitimizing it. Don't do that. You don't. Some people say, I'm going to respect the arrangement. Like, you do you, but either you have a right to exist or you don't. And just go about your life, hold your head up high, and if they want to get into it and you think that you can have a constructive conversation with somebody, then go ahead. You can talk. We live in a democratic land. And if not, you can say, well, I know that we're on opposite sides of the fence here, and I don't see that as necessarily being a problem for us to rub shoulders together and see each other in public. So, if this is just going to end badly, then, I'd rather not talk about the faith, but you do you and I'll do me, and we'll nod heads and shake hands and everything's good, Most witnesses can bring themselves to that. But the more you say, I'm going to disassociate, again, I appreciate some people have to do that for their own mental sanity, whatever. If you have to do it, I'm not saying don't do it, but I'm saying for those of you who want to maintain relationships, for those of you who think that it's a joke structure, don't legitimize it. Hey good people, did you like this video? Well, do yourself a favor and subscribe already. Also, if you love books and want to talk about things sort of unrelated to the Jehovah's Witnesses, be sure to subscribe to my other channel called the Derek London Podcast. Click this little button right here to do that, alright? And I'll see you over there. I'm out. Peace.